It is so nice out. It is a little bit windy. I'm sure you can hear that a little bit here. So it's a little bit windy, but I'm going to take a walk just down the road because it is so stinking nice out. It's actually like really warm out. If you, if you are in the sun, it's almost hot. In the sun where there's no wind, that is. And I got a little bit of a mic cover on my microphone so that now, not as much, sorry about the wind, I don't know, not as much of the wind is picked up by the microphone as there used to be. But I don't know how bad it is. Because I know right now, if it was blowing like it is, it would be terrible wind noise. So I have to edit the video and find out. I'm going to go check on our bees that I'm sure you've heard about in the previous vlogs. But they come out of here, but it doesn't really look like there's any in there. Or there isn't any coming out, which it's probably still too cold. But yep, I'm totally gonna just take a walk. I would fly my drone, but I think it's a little bit too windy. I'm going to sweep out that end of the shop because it's really dirty and I can't find a broom. All the stuff you just watched me put out here, all this stuff melts metal. And I'm considering melting metal. As you can see, cobwebs. We have not melted metal for at least, I don't know. Yeah, probably, no, not quite 6 months. But I'll show you how it all goes together. So after repeated heatings and coolings, heatings and coolings, the inside of our blast furnace kind of gets a little corroded away, which is no big deal because we have a bunch of in a roll. So I just cut a new little strip and take this one out and put the new one in. And the inside of this is what's called kale wool, and it can withstand up to 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. 26, sorry. And it is just like pink insulation foam. Not foam, just the pink fiberglass insulation, except it's about twice as itchy. So if you ever mess with this stuff, be very careful because you will be super itchy if you aren't. And as you can see right here, our metal does not quite go all the way around, but that's okay because the only reason this metal is in here is to keep the edges of our scratchy crucible from tearing this, the kale wool, down. So I'll just put it in so it won't come close to that. Alright, this is our forced induction, puts just a little bit more air in. Propane comes into a modified, well, this is an exhaust tip, but it's a modified, or we got the idea from one of those weed burners that you hook up to a 20-gallon propane tank. Put a rotor on top of this, and then this fits perfectly inside the rotor. Sometimes. Come on, honey bun. Ah, this little tab doesn't want to fit. There we go. So that goes all the way down like that. And then our crucible, which is made out of 1/4-inch steel, will set in there. Actually, I'll spin it like that. Like that. And then we just melt down random scraps of aluminum and, oh man, I'm itchy. That kale wool, I hardly did anything and I'm just like really itchy. It's bad stuff. But, so, I'm gonna light this up and show you guys how it works. Turn on, pressurize, turn this on, just a little tiny bit. It always makes me jump. But then just slowly turn up the heat, and it actually won't get very fiery until you turn this thing on. Whew, that reeks. Turn. And then it turns it more into a blast furnace. That's about where I like it. I'm just gonna melt down some of these little scraps that I have left over from other pourings and stuff, and pour them into this muffin tin, which has been used a few times. You can see it's kind of lost its coating. It doesn't really have any non-stick coating left. And by the way, not melt metal. Okay, aluminum is a metal, but it will be hot enough to melt aluminum, not steel. If you really, really want to heat it up fast, then you can kick this into high speed, and it just turns it into a blast furnace. I'm coming out here because it's a lot quieter out here than in there. You can definitely see now the red. You can definitely see that it's getting a lot more red now. It's still not hot enough to melt metal or aluminum. I keep saying metal. Aluminum is a metal, but there's thousands of other kinds of metal. I wonder. That's pretty hot. And there's a garage door. I think it's too high. Yeah, it's not hardly even warm up here. All right, now I'm gonna add some aluminum because I don't know if you can see that very well, but in there, there's aluminum just left over from other previous castings that is starting to melt. And if you ever do anything with molten aluminum, any type of molten metal, always wear leather gloves. And I also have a pair of tongs that I use to grab the metal and then drop it in there because that is way too hot to get anywhere near. And then I'll just show you once it's all melted down because it'll take a while. I have no extras, and I'm gonna need more to actually make some ingots because that's not enough. So I'm gonna come over here to, we have a store of ingots up here already. I'm gonna take some of these that kind of look, this is actually a lead ingot. Not sure why it's over here. Some of these that don't look quite as good. This guy's kind of a muffin top. This guy's a little scrawny. So I'll take these two over and put them in here, and then I'll just re-pour them. It'll take those probably 2 minutes. This tool right here is what we call our slag dipper, and it's designed so that you can be a little ways back from the edge and dip out slag. And slag is just basically any surface area on the metal has a little tiny bit of dirt on it, and so it makes slag. And there's actually quite a bit of slag. So the more surface area you have of the metal you're melting, the more slag you will get in the metal. hear me. And then it's not quite as hot, doesn't blast out hot air. This is what we call the shoe. And it just fits right over the top. And you, oh, I better move this. And you just squeeze down on these two, and then it sticks. Come on, Nima. There we go. Then, pour 1, pour 2, pour 3, 4. Ooh, spider web in that one. And a little baby one. Then we take, get any remaining. The slag generally stays behind, which is kind of handy. But yep, and that's how we do it. And another thing that'll be coming up is I'm going to show you how I make things to cast with aluminum. We use a Dremel and pink foam. And then there's the static is holding little tiny pieces of foam, like in this force field around the sander wheel. One thing, these won't be cool till the touch if you let them dry out here, or cool down out here for at least an hour. And then they'll be cool to the touch. You can't touch them for probably 45 minutes. So usually what I do is I get my tongs, I put them away already. I get my tongs, grab this like this, pops, and turn them over. And these are still just a little bit soft. Just a little baby one. But they turned out pretty good. Fairly impressed with that. Yeah, but as you can hear, they aren't like a... Yeah. It's been about 20 minutes, 10 minutes since we poured, and you can still smoke a leaf pretty easily. That's a wet leaf too, so it's not gonna light. But those are smoking hot. So usually what we do is dip them in water, and then you can touch them. Alright, it's been probably about 35, close to 40 minutes since I poured. I'm gonna see. Yo! Yep, they're still hot. This little guy probably isn't. No. Yeah, see, this actually is pretty warm. Like if I held him in one spot too long, it wouldn't burn me, but it would be uncomfortable. So if you are gonna do this, dip them in water or wait at least 45 minutes before you touch them, because it's still really hot. This is how you move the ingots. And by the way, they still sizzle in the water. That one didn't go as good as the last one. They still sizzle when they hit the water, so they're still extremely hot. Yeah. This one's nice and cool now. It looks pretty good except for the muddy water on it. It's so nice out. We're just sitting out on the porch, and well, I was flying my drone and chasing the littles. So. Don't mess with it, okay?
Why?
'Cause. And they don't know why they shouldn't mess with it. Watch this. Watch.
Don't. You said not to. Okay.
Told you not to mess with it. Here it comes. Looking at you.
Please go up.
Ready? Well, thankfully in that crash it didn't sustain any major injuries, so just a few little pieces of dirt on it. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty tough, so I wasn't expecting it to be hurt. I just don't like to crash it because it's kind of an expensive thing to crash. Today isn't quite as nice of a day. It's a little bit chillier, and there's a little bit more wind, and it's kind of foggy, and so, oh well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and comment down below, and I'll see you next time.